Thank you for joining us today. We have a very special guest with us on L'chaim, Joshua Malina. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be on a show that has in the title.
I appreciate that.
It's been a long time.
You're in town for a community campaign celebration of the Jewish Federation of Broward.
That is true. I get to speak at the event tonight. It will have taken place, I guess, by the time this airs.
Right.
Hopefully it went well.
I'm sure it did.
So, yeah, I'm excited. It is what it sounds like. It's a celebration of this incredibly generous community and the things that the Federation has been able to accomplish.
Josh, you're well known for your credits involving the Sports Night, The West Wing, movies including American President, Bulworth, among many others.
For a while.
Right. And what's interesting is on Sports Night, you played a Jewish character.
That is true.
And then on West Wing, there were two other Jewish characters that had a very strong Jewish identity to both of them.
Yeah.
And then you came in, you were given the character's name of Will Bailey. And so was that a choice by Aaron Sorkin to not make you so Jewish?
Actually, that's very, very perceptive of you because I came onto the show in the fourth season when Rob Lowe decided to leave, and I lobbied a little through email to Aaron, and shortly thereafter he said, I want to get together, I have an idea. And so I met him at the Four Seasons Hotel, and we sat down. He started pitching me. He said, it looks like Rob is deciding to go. I'm going to create, or maybe he had started writing this character for you. Actually, the name at the time was Benjamin Beatty. Well, it turns out that Warren Beatty has a son named Benjamin, and apparently, I don't know, maybe he's not fond of me, but
right.
didn't want there to be a character with that name. They changed the name ultimately to Will Bailey, and he told me, sort of pitched me the story arc and told me a lot about the character, and then we did have this moment where Aaron had kind of a serious look in his eye and in hushed tones said, now I do have to tell you, the character's not going to be Jewish. I was like, so what? Right. What do you think, I'm not going to play the part? Because I will only play Jews. But no, he said, yeah, there's Josh Lyman and there's Toby Ziegler. I said, Aaron, I don't care.
You can handle it.
Yes. Although ultimately later in the series, actually after Aaron had left, there were, I think in season 6, there were episodes, the season started with a few episodes in and around Camp David and discussions of the situation between Israel and the Palestinians. And not long before writing those episodes, I was talking to John Wells, who was running the show at that point, and I guess I was traveling to do a speaking engagement, something like this, speaking to a federation, and I told him about it, and he said, oh, I didn't realize you were so, that Israel was such an important thing to you, and being Jewish, and so I probably bent his ear for a while. Next thing I knew, Will Bailey was fervently pro-Israel.
Very good.
So that was nice.
Well, you have a relationship that goes back many years with Aaron Sorkin.
That is true.
Tell our viewers how that relationship got started.
Well, I knew him a little bit as a kid. I grew up in New Rochelle, New York, in the suburbs. He in Scarsdale, 15 minutes away from each other. He went to high school with my cousins, with whom I'm very close. It's all Jewish geography in the end. And so I saw him in school plays. I'm introduced a few times. And then when I got out of college, my mother suggested, in the classic Jewish mother tradition, she said, you should call Aaron Sorkin. I think he's in Manhattan. And being a good Jewish son, I follow my mother's advice. So I called him, and we hooked up and became friends, and we played a lot of poker together. And I don't think I even knew, I'm not sure that I knew at the time even that he was a writer, but he sort of casually mentioned, I'm sure across a poker table, that he had written this play, A Few Good Men. Do I want to audition for it? And I did, and I'm sure in large part, if not entirely because of his urging them to cast me, they did. And so that was really the first professional job.
Right, and there's a great Heimlich story.
I did, it is true that subsequently I Heimlicked him. We got to A Few Good Men was on Broadway, and I played little roles originally, and I understudied 3 of the leads, and eventually took over one of the roles. And one of the great perks about playing on Broadway is that you get to also take part in the Broadway Bowling League. And this would be a weekly event where, the guys from A Few Good Men play against the cast of A Chorus Line. You go bowling in some little bowling alley, I think at Port Authority. And at one of these, Aaron bowled with us, and in a sort of typically generous gesture, he bought like a tray of hamburgers for people, and before he bowled, he took an enormous bite of hamburger and then started choking, and we kind of thought he was doing shtick, and we sort of just stared at him for a while laughing until it became clear he actually was choking. And And the only time I've ever really reacted under
Right.
pressure, I think, with any kind of calm, or I Heimlicked him. I didn't really know what I was doing. I just kind of got behind him and sort of beat him up. Cracked 3 of his ribs.
Wow.
Sent a wad of hamburger hurtling out of his mouth, and
But we'll set the record straight. You get the roles because you can do the job.
it might be the Heimlich. I am very comfortable with the notion that he just likes to have me around when he's eating.
Right.
Whatever leads to the employment.
Very good. Well, let's switch gears a little bit. You're in town a lot of people say that you wear your Jewishness on your sleeve, and I think you would admit that. You're very active politically regarding Jewish causes. And this quote was attributed to you, and it says, "A Jew is what I am, an actor is what I do." Why is it so important for you to let the world know that you're Jewish?
Well, I would say I'm a yeshiva boy at heart, so just I was given the gift, I feel like, from my parents of having a strong Jewish identity and valuing that. So it's not even so much that I feel like I have to, make a statement or an announcement, but it just really is who I am. And I feel like an actor describes what I do for a living, and I love it and I enjoy it. But a Jew speaks more at a primal level of what my identity is, and I spend most of my time trying to be a good Jewish daddy now. And so,
well, your parents were very active for Jewish causes
yeah,
as
that's
well.
true. They were involved in founding a temple when I was a kid, and they made the decision to send me to yeshiva. We had a household that valued Judaism and what that meant, and trying to live a good life, and celebrating Jewish events, and that's just that's the kind I'm trying to create the same kind of household and upbringing for my kids. So I'm happy to talk about it, especially because sometimes I feel like the things you see in terms of Judaism publicly sometimes are more kind of cultural, and I think the substantive, has greater value. I like Knishes and Mel Brooks movies too,
Right.
but I think it's good for Jewish kids to see that they're. I'm no role model, but the actors are somebody they might recognize. Places,
Well, we all, as
value
parents, we all stand up and say, "Andy's Jewish."
Right.
That's something that we all do.
Right, that's true. Exactly, that is a classic thing. That's true.
Right.